After Saturday's Christmas cracker at Anfield, it is a trip to Burnley on Boxing Day for Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool as they look for 3 more points to put them back on top of the tree for a couple of days at least. Their opponents will be buoyed though, won't they, by that impressive away win at Fulham, with Vincent Kompany hoping his side can build on that result. Turf Moor plays host to Liverpool's latest festive fixture of the season, and we are going to bring you live audio commentary of the game from 5:30. Hello there, welcome along to today's Matchday Live. Sammy Lee and Gary Gillespie have swapped the leftover turkey for, hopefully, what we're hoping will be a feast of football. The thoughts of them are coming up very shortly. First, though, let's head over to East Lancashire for the very first time. Mark Benstead's been catching up with a former Reds winger. Mark.
Good evening, Becky. Season's greetings to you and the boys in the studio. I tell you, I must have been a good boy this year because my Christmas wish has come true. I'm at Burnley for Boxing Day and I'm alongside a 2-time Champions League winner in Steve McManaman. Maka, great to have you with us. Season's greetings to you as well.
Lovely seeing you.
In terms of where we go into this game in a position for Liverpool, bit of moaning maybe after dropping points in the last 2 matches, but we need to get a bit of perspective ahead of this game. Last Christmas Day, Liverpool were 6th. This Christmas Day, we were 2nd.
Yes, I think perspective is the right word. I know there was a lot of frustration after the Manchester United game, probably a bit over the top in some quarters, to be very honest. Thought they played well against Arsenal. Arsenal, an excellent team, aren't they? Of course they are. And they've reinforced their squad from last year. But I think you have to realise where Liverpool are this year. They're playing really well. I think the intensity is excellent. You know, they're sitting 2nd in the league. Qualified for Europa League until March now, so that's forgotten about. Of course, semi-final against Fulham in the Carabao Cup, where Liverpool should be favoured to qualify for Wembley. So I think you have to take a real bit of perspective and say, things are going absolutely fine. Jurgen brought in a number of players in the summer. There was just a period of transition with a lot of the players. Some players are still trying to pick up the language. Sometimes some players are trying to pick up the pace of the Premier League, so I think they've been excellent, I really do.
In terms of what he has to deal with today, Jurgen Klopp, is one of the things sort of mental fatigue, perhaps, given the workload and what was put into the last 3 matches, but also the toll on the squad, the injuries picked up against Arsenal.
I think away from home, it's Boxing Day. I think we have to realise that. We know the positions of the both teams. We know one team is struggling, particularly at home in Burnley, but they're on the back of a decent result. This is their big game of the season. Of course, when Man United or Liverpool come to town, it's the big game of the season. So they will be at it today. Vincent Kompany knows what to expect in Liverpool. He scored against Liverpool on Boxing Day for Manchester City about 5 or 6 years ago. So he knows the importance of today, and he knows the importance of getting a good result in front of his home crowd.
How did you find the games at this time of the year? Is it about just getting through them?
Loved it. I loved it. I love playing 3 games in a week, because if you went win, you you jumped up the table and you were 3 or 4 places higher or more points clear of your opposition. So I love this festive period. I really enjoyed the toll on your body, because I was always quite fit and I could run, and I was always really excited about the amount of people that turned up over the Christmas and New Year period.
Always a good atmosphere around these games. In terms of coming here, I know Burnley are struggling in the league at the moment, but relatively speaking, do we come and play them at maybe a bad time, because they're in a decent bit of form just now?
We played well against Fulham and got a fantastic result. Listen, it's never a good time nor a bad time. Liverpool are big favourites today, but they have to be at it. We've seen Liverpool play against some of the promoted teams. Last year I was at the game when they lost to Forest, I was at the game where they lost to Bournemouth. So you can't just think to yourselves, we'll roll this team over today. They'll be up for it. This is their cup final, as we say. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but this is a massive game for Burnley, and they want to instill a little bit of confidence in the team, and they want to climb the table as well. They could be bottom today. You never know if the Sheffield United result goes against them. So they've got a lot to play for themselves.
Just 1 home win here in the Premier League this season. The most goals conceded at home in the Premier League. Liverpool, though, will get chances this evening. That's the big thing for them.
Yeah, Liverpool score goals, don't they? And they score goals away from home. They've got a lovely record away from home scoring goals. They've got a number of injury problems, which we see. Costa Tsimikas, of course, and his problem with his collarbone the other day. So there'll be changes in that position, whether it's Joe Gomez or whether it's Conor Bradley. We don't know yet, or Luke Chambers, whoever's going to come in. But as long as they keep a clean sheet, you expect Liverpool to have chances today. And I think Virgil van Dijk and Konate have been in wonderful form themselves.
Great stuff, Steve. We'll pause things just there. Yeah, Becky, big game here for Boxing Day. We'll bring you the team news from both sides very shortly.
Thank you, Mark Benstead and Steve McManaman lapping up the delights of Turf Moor on Boxing Day, and it's Gary Gillespie and Sammy Lee in the studio. Firstly, a very Merry Christmas to both of you.
And to you, Becky. Yeah.
Good Christmasses?
Very good, very
good
quiet.
presents?
Yeah, not bad. Yeah,
you must have got some socks in there, come on.
I actually bought my own socks.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Mrs. Gillespie needs to get onto that. What about yourself?
Well, as you
a
say,
good one?
I've had plenty of turkey, as you can see. So that's a big enough present for me. Yeah.
Sammy's on the nice list, actually. You came in armed with lots of goodies for us, so
Yeah,
there'll be a little festive treat for us awaits during the match, I think.
It's normal for us guys, isn't it? We've always been in situ on Christmas, as Macca alluded to there before. But for you guys who have to work, who have to come into the studio, I just thought it was a little bit of try and give a little bit of festive cheer.
Much appreciated. Lovely gesture. I mean, it's interesting actually what he said there about how much he loved this period. Was that the same for both of you?
It was for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a thing that you just get used to as a football player, that you know that you're going to be in training over Christmas Day, you're going to be playing Boxing Day. Back in the day, you would probably over Christmas and New Year, there was a time where you'd play 4 games. So it's always been a busy period. And I always remember, like Ronnie Moran, he always used to say, "Your Christmas is in like July somewhere on a beach." That's what sticks in your mind. Yeah.
And I think, as Macca alluded to, Beck, the fact that it's an intensive period. If you get maximum points out of that, fantastic.
Yeah, well, certainly no let up for Liverpool today. How do you view this one, Sammy? Because, I don't think you could say that Burnley would be confident, but they will be buoyed a bit by that result last week. And Liverpool, of course, some injury problems, which we haven't got the team news yet. Yeah. We will see in a few minutes' time how that affects the lineup. Yeah,
well, you've heard me say on many occasions, Beck, this is an intense league. It's the most difficult league in the world for a number of reasons, and there are no gimmies. So going to Burnley's Day on a Boxing Day, the crowd will be well up for it. They've just had a fantastic result, and Macca again alluded to the fact that in the past we haven't been our best against the so-called lower placed teams. It's going to be a very difficult game, but it's one that I'm sure they're well prepared for. They know the difficulties. They know the fact that, as I say, Burnley's just coming off the back of a very good result. So I'm sure they'll be up for it, and I'm sure they'll be prepared for what's going to come. Set pieces are going to be huge. I think they're going to try and damage us at set pieces, so we'll have to be aware of that. It's going to be a difficult game, but one I'm sure with the attacking prowess that we've got, I think we can win it. Yeah,
we're seeing shots there. The Liverpool team arriving at Turf Moor. I mean, it's a classic, old school, compact grounds, isn't it, Gary? As Sammy says, that the crowd will be right up for it today. I mean, on paper, it should be a game that Liverpool have more than enough for. How do you see it?
Well, exactly that. I think if you go to it individually, I mean, Liverpool are way ahead at Burnley. And I expect, I don't think Burnley will change the style that they play. They like to play from the back. It has cost them dearly, I think, in the Premier League. But I still think that they'll stick with that philosophy, and that could play into Liverpool's hands. If we play quite a high press, which I'm sure we will do, we could win balls in good areas of the pitch and counter press from there. But as Sammy rightly says, there's no giving in the Premier League. You've always got to fight for the right to get the result, and I don't think that'll be any different today. On paper, Liverpool, you go to the bookies, Liverpool probably like 10-1 on or something like that to win the game. But in saying that, Burnley will look at it and think, well, it's a bit of a free hit this, we've got nothing to lose. Yeah. And after coming off the back of a great victory against Fulham, they will be a little bit buoyed.
Absolutely. Well, in terms of the top of the table, obviously we've all been studying the top of the Premier League table intently over Christmas. I mean, there is the possibility, Sammy, albeit it might be temporarily with Arsenal playing it a couple of days later, that Liverpool can go back top today. Let's just take a look at how it stacks up at the moment. And also, critically, after a couple of draws in the Premier League, you want to get that winning momentum back too.
Yes, very much so. But I think, again, as Steve alluded to before, as Macca alluded to, we have to put things into perspective. Last year we were 6th going into now today we can go top. So although it was disappointing against Manchester United, very good game against Arsenal, which I'm sure we'll talk about after. I think, to be honest, today it'd be nice for us to get back to winning ways. But again, as Gary said, it's not going to be easy.
OK, well, kick-off is exactly an hour away now, which means it is time for the team news. Let's head over to Turf Moor right now and join Mark Benstead. Mark.
Thank you, Becky. Welcome back to Turf Moor. In terms of the team news for tonight, the big interesting talking point from a Liverpool point of view, I guess, was what Jurgen Klopp would do in the absence of Kostas Tsimikas at left back. That terrible injury to his collarbone putting him out for the foreseeable future. But it looks from the evidence of the team sheet today as if Jurgen's gone with experience. Looks like Joe Gomez will slot in at left back after finishing the game against Arsenal there so impressively. There are 5 changes in total made by the Reds. Boss, there is another alteration as well in the back line as Jarell Kwanzaa comes in as Ibu Konate is given a rest after his impressive showing against the Gunners. Liverpool team then is full. Is Alisson Becker in goal. It looks like it'll be Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back. Jarell Kwanzaa and Virgil van Dijk as the centre-halves. Kwanzaa playing his 6th Premier League game of the season, his 14th in total, with Gomez continuing at left back. Wataru Endo will be the sitter in midfield with Harvey Elliott on one side. Elliott making his first Premier League start since the game against Brighton in October, and Ryan Gravenberg on the other side. Mo Salah will operate off the right. Salah is making his 250th Premier League appearance. He's also making his 350th appearance in English football. He's hoping today he'll mark it with his 150th Premier League goal for the Reds. Also up top, it's Cody Gakpo, and in from the off, Darwin Núñez. On the bench, it's Kelleher, Konate, Diaz, Szoboszlai, Jones, Jota, Chambers, McConnell and Bradley. I'll bring the details of the Burnley side in full very shortly. I can tell you just one change for the host. Mike Tresor is in for the off for Brun Larsen.
OK, thank you very much. Mark Benstead at Turf Moor. There's a few changes there to talk through. Firstly, let's talk about Joe Gomez coming in at left back. Probably quite predictable, I think, Gary, that was going to be the case.
Yeah, I think there's other changes that were maybe a little bit more of a surprise than that, to be quite honest with you. I think you go for your experienced players. I think Joe has played there, albeit like it maybe takes, we talked about games in the past where to give you balance on that side, you would ideally you'd want a left-footed player to play at left full-back. But I think at this stage, I think opting for experience is probably the right thing. So I don't think that's any surprise. I think you finished the game quite strongly against Arsenal, and I think even from like what we saw again down there or at Anfield, he could get forward as well. And I mean, he almost scored his first goal, didn't he, on a couple of occasions. The big change, I think, is obviously in the middle of the park. I think, you know, to leave out the likes of Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai, and is a big call. And it'll be interesting to see how Liverpool operate in there. I think Harvey Elliott deserves a chance from what I've seen so far. But it's a side that, well, put it this way, I don't think too many people would have picked that side without like having like knowledge of obviously who was ready and who was fit. Nice to see that we've got the option of Jota back on the bench as well.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Great to see Diogo Jota back, Sammy. But there are options on the bench to change it up quite significantly there. When you look at Luis Diaz, who is a bit of an injury doubt, so I don't know whether that's a fitness issue that he starts on the bench. But you would imagine we will see him at some point, as Gary said, Dominic Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones. There are game changers on that bench.
They are. And I think I agree with totally what Gary said about Harvey. I think he's deserved his start because when he's come on, he's had a massive impact in numerous games. And again, as you said, I think this is a surprise from the changes in there. I'm pleased with Endo, I've got to be honest here. I think he needs more games to get up to the pace of the Premiership. I'm also concerned that because of his not being at that pace, there's a yellow card in him every game, which could lead to a red. But I've liked the progress in him. I see the improvements in him, and I have to say, he's my type of player. I like him in there. And again, a couple of changes up front, but hopefully they'll have an effect, have an impact, and if needs to, they've got plenty of changes, as you said before, that can come on and make another impact.
Yeah, you've touched on it there, so I will just say both Endo and Darwin Núñez are one yellow card away from a one-match ban, but if they don't get booked today, it gets wiped on the 31st of December. Just in terms of Jarell Kwanzaa, a lot of people thought maybe it would be Ibu Konate partnering Virgil van Dijk today, but he's more than proved himself in recent games, hasn't he, Gary?
I think from what we've seen so far, I don't think, sat here, I don't make it as a big issue that like Kwanzaa comes in. I think Konate was really, really impressive against Arsenal. I think the one thing that you would say that, looking over like his short history at Liverpool, he has got a tendency to get injured on the odd occasion, which maybe have some reasoning behind the fact that Quansah comes in. But the young man has looked very, very impressive, whether he's played on the left side of the centre-back or on the right-hand side of the centre-backs. On both occasions, he's always looked quite comfortable. I just hope that the one fault I would say sometimes for me, he stops the ball a little bit too quickly. He kind of dallies a little bit too long on the ball. I think when you look at all the best centre-backs, you look at Virgil van Dijk, the ball never stops at his feet. It's always moving. And I think sometimes Quansah just stops the ball at his feet a few times, and when you do that, you get a little bit sloppy, a little bit casual, and forwards just pick out that and just seize on that opportunity to maybe catch you a little bit in possession.
We spoke about Joe Gomez obviously coming in, Tammy. Let's just quickly speak about Kostas Tsimikas, because now Arsenal, as the dust has settled on what happened. Obviously it was just a freak accident really what happened with Kostas, and the collision here, as you can see, with the boss. It's such a shame for him, because obviously after maybe slightly taking his time to bed in the first couple of games when he was coming in for Andy Roberts, and he really has come into his own in the past few weeks. He's been pretty strong in that position, so for them to both suffer similar type of injuries as well, it's just a really frustrating situation.
It is, and I think most, not only for the boy but for the club as well, you know. And I think I was actually concerned for Jürgen getting injured there, to be honest, when I seen the clash. But you know, it's sad for the boy, and I think again, as Gary mentioned before, the biggest thing that's going to be missing from today is the natural balance of a left-sided player playing left side. But again, Gomez has done fantastic when he's come in there at left back. He hasn't let anybody down, so hopefully it won't be too much of a weakness. But I do feel for Tsimikas, you know, for the boy, because as you say, he was about to get a lengthy run in the side, which most players want and need, particularly to come up to the pace of this Premier League, and it's a big disappointment for him and for the club.
Yeah, when Sammy talks about balance there is the option of Luke Chambers, obviously 4 appearances this season, I think 2 starts in the Europa League, but you would think maybe the boss would want him to have some more minutes under his belt before he kind of got regular game time in the Premier League, Gary.
I think he's a really good young prospect. I think he needs to mature a little bit more. I think he needs to get a little bit bigger, a bit stronger, a little bit quicker. But that only comes through time and experience. He's had the taste of first team football, and I'm sure he'll get another taste of first team football and probably the near future as opposed to the distant future. I think Jürgen's always given the young players an opportunity to show what they're capable of. And he's come in, and I'm sure he'll get his opportunity somewhere down the line.
OK, well, it is Joe Gomez who starts at left back. We think this afternoon we are going to pause there for just a moment as we prepare to lose those of you watching us on social media platforms today. If you would like a little bit more Matchday Live build-up, though, then you can find details of how to subscribe to LFC TV and LFC TV Go online right now at liverpoolfc.com/watch. Still to come before kick-off in this afternoon's game, we are going to be hearing from both managers. There's live audio commentary of all the action at 5:30 today before the matchday reaction brings you analysis and interviews as well from 7:30. LFC TV Go will have the best bits from tonight's game available to watch for free. That is at 9:30 tonight. And then the full match replay is from midnight this evening. And do look out as well actually for Inside on our Facebook and YouTube channels as well. That is from Thursday. So another huge game for Jurgen Klopp's men then as we approach the halfway point of this Premier League campaign, believe it or not. We are back in a couple of minutes' time.